Hi, Greed.
Oh, hey, Greed.
Hi.
How long have you been here? This is how we hang out every night. We just sort of hang out in a semicircle and talk
Yeah.
about
We have a
crafts.
political show.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Sure.
There is too much of everything. It's a song by a Belgian artist. You go to Starbucks and there's 7 kinds of coffee. It's so overwhelming you can't make up your mind. You get stressed out just to make a choice. Or there is a new smartphone. It's a little bit bigger or smaller, but definitely thinner than the previous one. But all you really wanted is that the battery would last longer. I think when you go back to basics, only get the things you really need in life, it causes less stress, less efforts. Because do you really need that new phone? Do you really need those 7 kinds of coffee? The only thing I really want more in life is time. I'd say there's too much of everything, things we don't need, but there is no assurance that our money is worth just as much time. If you could start all over again, would you settle for less?
Holy shit.
Absolutely. They're just little tiny distractions, distracting us from the right things to do and the right things to think about and consider. And they just take time in our day, and ultimately they give us tiny shots of, and dopamine, make us happy for a moment, but we're really meant to be considering other things. But I'm an old person, so I think that's the right answer for me. Go ahead, kids. What do you think?
I think that was a good synonym for our record label.
Oh, all right, nice segue.
Yeah.
Smooth.
No, I mean, just like, because you're right about that, like, just like sometimes there's all these new things you can do, and there's all these technologies available, but sometimes just like somebody like, Yotam, you put him with a guitar, something really beautiful can happen with just those 2 things. And that's kind of-
Thank you, man. I think it applies for each one of us.
Well, yeah, especially
Especially the one.
It's all about you guys. But she was talking about cell phones.
right, which, if
And
you can find
coffee.
a bigger battery, that'd be great.
The battery thing is so true, though I think Apple released those computers a little while ago where they figured out a way to make the frame, of the computer, it's all a battery now. It supposedly lasts
Solar power.
a long time. Yeah, it's just that the casing for the computer is the battery
Okay.
now. And it's some kind of turning point. But I'm with you on that, because they're big, they're small, they're big, they're small, like, as soon
But do
as
you
somebody
need
gets
it? Do
bored,
you need
like,
it?
my new phone is so huge, and I still want a bigger one.
Nice.
I feel like it creates like a heap of
There's a
anxiety.
euphemism in there somewhere, sorry.
I just feel like it creates a heap of anxiety over
Yeah.
things that you end up compensating so much.
But I also hate the choice thing too, I'm so with this guy, I wanna hear this song really badly now. Can it be playing in the background? The thing when you walk in, there's too many choices.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to a deli in Los Angeles or New York, and those menus that are like 5 pages, and you open them up like a good old Jewish deli,
Yeah.
and it's like, dude, all I want is some salmon and a bagel, you know what I mean? And there's like 5,000 sandwiches, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just had it downstairs. I was like, what am I gonna get?
Oh, yeah.
They said people are happier with less choices.
True. Plus it was in Flemish, so
Yeah.
that was tough.
That is also true.
We're in
Yeah.
Belgium, right?
This is Belgium.
Yes.
Just make that clear.
Speaking of which, can we try one of those chocolates?
Yeah, man. Which one?
First question, 15 minutes, let's go.
Caramel or
Without
liquor or
questions.
At
something.
this pace, we'll be
This
done
looks
by the
great,
time the
yeah.
show's
let's bust open the liquor ones. These were a gift from Great, thank you.
There's booze in those things?
Yeah.
I'll take 4.
Yeah.
Pots.
Actually, if somebody wants to split one, I feel like my stomach is splitting. Jesus. You guys as full as I am?
Thank you,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
We just say,
I've hijacked your interview again.
oh wait, yeah.
These are beautiful, thank you.
Bon appetit.
Love you guys.
The other one.
Yeah.
That's okay.
What are we gonna do here?
Oh, hold on.
We gonna break some teeth?
No, that's not.
Oh.
It tastes like.
It tastes like alcohol.
How did you get the courage to live with insecurity? It takes a lot of guts to say, I'm just gonna quit my job, gonna get on the road and play my music.
I guess you just reach a point where you're just fed up with what you're doing, and you don't really know why. so you start obsessing over it that was my case, and then I started obsessing over it. I'm like, why am I not happy? I'm making cool money from playing bass for this thing, and I live in a decent area next to the beach, and everything's like nicely set up, and I could just go on forever. But that's kind of boring, right? Like once you know you're at a place in life where it's kind of like a straight line to who knows. So I always like to break that line. I like to, all right, time to start over again. That's my story. I guess.
Rolling stone gathers no moss.
I never wanted to do anything but this. I mean, honestly, like I like other lines of work, like IT or medicine and stuff, but it was easy to, you know, if you have an opportunity like to go on a European tour or something like that, or and actually, you know, get out and get yourself in front of people that you never would otherwise. I don't see it. It was never like a risk for me. It was just like, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, my life is full of insecurities. But I hated what I was doing, so it was like writing music was like a coping mechanism. And then I was enjoying it, and I just thought, wait, if I took out what made me anxious and what made me sad, it doesn't need to be a coping mechanism. It can just be something I enjoy. It's not something I don't like playing really. I love playing to people, but I don't like the attention. Like I feel quite uncomfortable right now.
With
But,
introvert.
I just music is my catharsis.
Okay.
Maybe you could answer everything.
From now on,
Yeah.
we're elected to speak for all of us.
Yeah, if that's cool.
Very good
And
answer.
Nailing
I'm
it.
talking about the banter on stage.
Wow.
We'll just give you a microphone, you go behind the curtain.
You've heard me on stage.
You don't say much, but I like that. It's
What you
it's
say is
sweet.
always very.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very
You
good.
speak when it's important.
Poignant.
But
To the point, yeah.
she articulates things well.
She's our favorite, like, university.
Yeah, well, she's got a vagina.
How long have you
Oh, I'm sorry. Good.
How long have you known each other?
Well, for me, I met Yotam personally earlier this year. I flew to San Diego to play a show with him, just randomly. I met Laura on this tour, but we thought we were going to do a previous tour together, so we've been kind of Facebook friends for like a year, yeah. I met Joey, what, 2 years ago now?
Yes, isn't that long? That's crazy. Doesn't seem long.
2013.
It seems like, that's why I said 6 months ago, but I think it was more like a year ago.
It was like a year and a half, yeah, a little more here.
Wow.
If you could describe each other in one word, what word would you choose?
Amazing.
No, each other.
Together?
Who wants to go first?
Oh, like if I had to describe Joey.
Yeah. You can each say one word about Joey. What would you
It's a
say?
little hard.
Well, I know about Laura. I just say she's a poet. I have a feeling that
Poet.
she's very
Okay.
like, you know, she's like the poet.
That's what I would say.
I need 2 words. I think one word is sort of impossible unless it's
Okay.
hyphenated. I mean, if it were all 4 of us, I'd say strike force.
Nice.
No.
Not Mega Power.
Power Rangers!
Yeah, I mean, like, quiet poet, gentle poet.
Artist.
So I feel this
We're all
is-
just going to describe Laura because she's our
Sorry to
favorite.
me.
The rest of us, the words are sort of.
Describe Walt.
God, Walt Hammer, what do you think about this?
Insanely funny.
Yeah,
American.
yes.
Great harmonies.
I think there's some kind of word for, I would say pure.
Pure.
That's it.
Yotam.
Oh no.
Mysterious, enigmatic. I'm trying to think of all the synonyms for
Effortless.
For weird.
Effortless.
No.
Effortless is a great word.
Effortless,
Yeah.
because when he's up there, I see him every night, and I know it's gonna be good, and yet every time I hear it, it still gives me the chills, like that first song, I'm like, God, it's good. Like, and he doesn't
chili
just-
dog, chili.
Chili dog.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
No, I've got the idea of what it is. I think it's,
So many more
I'm trying to find a word. Keep talking, I'm like, really
Did you go?
because that the other stuff was a joke, obviously.
Yours was
Yeah.
great, but catchy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, catchy. I'm not thinking about music so much. I'm trying to think
Just
of
as
you
a
guys as
person?
people. Yeah,
I'm catchy as a person.
that's true. You're hot.
Hungry.
You're hot.
Hungry is my word. I'm changing it. It's always
No,
hungry.
I feel like it's what's a word for like he knows what he wants.
Determined.
Persistent?
No, because it's not ambition that I'm talking about. It's not that. It's like,
Content, maybe? Is that the word?
That sounds like you're
I
selling.
can't say true because it sounds too much like
You use pure.
pure. Yeah, I'm done.
So what do you want to say about Joey?
Uh-oh. Here we go. Go ahead.
How do I
Open
say
the
this?
floodgates.
How do I say this without?
How do you say this
I'll
about
be
your
right back.
boss?
I'll be right back. I'm gonna give him a little privacy first. Really tell you how I feel.
As far as Joey as a songwriter, I would say he's one of the, for me at least, and I'm talking for many more, one of the best and most influential of our generation. And not only in the punk world, 'cause I think Joey, yeah, you could hear this. Joey for me is up there, you know, with Elliott Smith and all these, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think I've listened to Lagwagon or Joey's solo stuff any less than I listen to that. So that for me is like, you know, this amazing dude is taking me on tour. So now, that's as far as the songwriter goes. As far as the person goes,
Uh-oh.
oh, just
I thought you guys were done. By the way, I heard everything you guys said, and I'm taking all the records off.
I got
Except yours, because we haven't made it yet, so be careful.
All right, I got something for Joey. I'd say ageless.
Ageless.
Yeah,
Wow.
every time I'm around Joey, I feel that he doesn't really have an age. You could tell me his age. I'm like,
Very immature.
I'm hanging out, yeah. I'm hanging out with like a 24-year-old dude, and we're talking nonsense, and we're doing music together. And he's like so devoted. Yeah, this is too many words already.
I've almost
We're
changed
really
my-
failing.
Peter.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's a paragraph. You wanted one short
We can
essay.
send you 10 pages.
One word.
One essay.
All right, you guys go. I'll stop.
My turn. Your turn.
Wait, he's the only one who's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I have one, I think. I would say as a, I guess, one word, mentor. He's brought me into a different, for lack of a better term, level of performing and stuff. And I do think that one quote that you've been said about you is that, you know, if you work with Joey, you become a better at whatever you're doing, if you listen to what he has to say. And like when I made my record, I had some songs that were brand new and I had some songs that were like 12 years old.
This is
And everything got better.
1,000 words.
Yeah. So, okay, anyway.
No,
Yeah, how about
thank
that?
you. Can we edit this last part out? Thanks, man. You guys are real sweet. That's very nice.
Yeah, no pressure, Laura.
Oh, do I? Yeah. I thought I wanted to.
Sorry, you have to go.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Racist.
You see, insanely funny.
I don't know if that was funny.
I want to say like inspiring, challenging. I don't know. Potentially prolific, creative. There's just, I don't know, being around Joey makes you want to do more. Take that like next kind of step up where you're like, oh man, I think this is as far as this can go. Not necessarily in a song, but with reading and like conversing, everything. You just expansive, like just learn.
Body of Christ.
Yeah, just the ability to be able to think, I can think more than I can already, or I can do more than I can already.
Yeah, that's really good.
You guys suck. I'm gonna cry.
So expansive.
I like that. I wish I could expand.
Thanks, Walt.
Just upward, you know. But couple inches, centimeters,
Platforms.
inches.
So that was what, a 6-second question that you took us 25 minutes to answer?
And I just have one more question.
No,
Yes or no?
No.
Are you hungry?
Are you guys drunk?
Really? What's more? Do you like chocolate?
Have you ever had second thoughts about giving people so much information, personal information through your lyrics, music, even your album layouts?
Talk about the
Every night, at every show, after every show.
Yeah, Joey's favorite superhero was the punishment.
That's a great question. These are really great questions. Great. She's smart.
That was Tash. Tash came up with that
Did
question.
she really?
Yeah.
She's really smart too. I know her. I had dinner with her tonight. I don't know if she's coming back. She's sort of.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think you think about it all the time because, there's a responsibility that you don't think about when you're writing something because as she pointed out, there's some catharsis to these things and, so it's a natural thing to try to find your truth and try to get the closest place you can get to, this sort of purity that you want to have and you want to believe the things that you say and you want to feel strongly about them or strongly enough that they mean something years later because they're much easier to sing over and over again if you have to. But there is some danger in sharing so much of yourself with people that you don't know because some people, I think especially after a few drinks, they can decide that they know you better than they know you, and so they feel like they've been friends with you for a long time through your music, and sometimes they want that requited, like they want the response to that. And I think that that's where it gets a little weird
Awkward,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't know them. And also, because you've released these things about your life and yourself and things that have happened and your feelings about these things, that doesn't mean that you want to share other personal details.
Yeah.
Those are meant for family and close friends, people that you love and trust. So that's a little bit of a dynamic that I want to kill myself. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, wait.
She turned the camera off.
That's not funny. Some people do that. That's really not funny. Your turn.
Oh shit.
I burned the bridge.
Yeah. When I normally write, if there's such a thing as normally write, I never really thought about those terms. I just think that I have to be as honest and as I possibly can, because like Joey said, you're gonna keep on singing it every night and for years. But for me, I'm at a point where I really have to relate to like every word I'm singing, or it's just I don't want to devote myself to it anymore. So I sing a lot of personal shit that I'm guessing other people wouldn't sing about. Like I have this new song called Adulthood, and it's about like my inner issues with myself as like growing up, but I'm still like holding on to this like inner kid that just has a problem. It's like this inner conflict that it's just like I don't have a problem saying it, but it's like kind of fucking me up, It's like but I am a songwriter, and this is what I do, so that's my take on the whole subject.
Peter put in problems.
Can you relate to those
Yeah,
experiences?
sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I mean, I've written about some really personal stuff about my marriage that kind of collapsed, and some of that stuff, it's actually really, it's helpful when I see later maybe that someone can relate to that. That's always really cool when somebody says, I listened to this song and I almost lost my wife or my husband, and now we're back together, and so the Believe in Me song, or they really relate to that. They're like, we're having an anniversary, we're going to play that, we're going to be our first dance or something. But then at the same time, there's also, like when I was doing this and had a real job, there were times when I kind of was like, I wish I didn't have to share both parts of these life together. And then there's always my dad, who is like, do you really want to say that word when you could say fart instead or something like that? So there's that little angle of it that maybe is a little different from these true travelers like these guys. But
Oh, you're a traveler too, man.
I suppose. But I don't know. Yeah, sometimes. But overall, I think sometimes it's good to read, like if it's a painful memory or something that I wrote about that at the time I needed to write about it, whether or not it was going to be for a song, just so I could get through it. Sometimes it actually feels good to re-feel those things. I feel like it makes me human again. So sometimes it's my own self that I'm dealing with those kind of lyrics. And all in all, I would say I would not go back and change any of them, but sometimes you get like, kind of wish I didn't have to think about that.
You should play that song tonight.
I think I'm going to.
It's a good venue for that.
Yeah.
Believe in We. It's a great song.
I don't think I realised how much I overshared until my family were in a room on this tour, and I put a lot of everything. Like all my songs are written in first person, pretty much, and it is. I can tell you a story, and it's pretty much the same as what the lyrics would be. But yeah, I hadn't realised until I was singing Apologies, Apologies. And my cousin came up and apologised for not being there for me. And,
Wow.
and I was
That's
like,
nice.
oh shit, like, I said, and you kind of recognise what has happened, but I enjoy the distance that I put between myself now singing it and at the time when I wrote it or was reflecting upon that point. So I don't mind too much because I'm not in that space or time or that mental capacity currently. So I quite enjoy sharing it because I'm like, hey, that's cool because I can step away from it.
Yeah.
It's not quite where I am, but it's where I was. I enjoy the storytelling aspect of it, so I don't mind too much, but
Me either.
it's.
I feel like qualifying the whole thing with the other side of the coin, which is that there's a positive element to all this things that they said for sure, but also, people identifying over some kind of universal language like music is a pretty great thing. It's something that should be used as a tool to make the world a much better place.
I mean, who doesn't have a song that helps shape their childhood or,
Yeah. Exactly.
somebody else wrote that song about something that's not what happened to you, but at the same time, it's like something that got you.
Yeah, it's like it is a universal tribal thing. And there's not many universal tribes, that's for sure.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? Do you have hopes and dreams, anything you want to realize? Because I hear you wanted to open a bar in San Francisco.
Oh, I want to. I just want to do anything but this. And I had a friend offer to kind of bank me for it, back me financially to open a bar in San Francisco. It's actually a really bad idea. In any city like San Francisco that's, sort of established and built out, and there are thousands of bars. It's like restaurants and bars are, New York City, I think they say is sort of a joke, it's 100% failure rate. Because even if they're successful for a year, then they have to do it again and again and again, because you gotta keep going. And I don't think they're the kind of businesses that establish like a foundation the way maybe a musician can or a songwriter can. You can have a history with people. Restaurants, there's too many, and it's just, so I don't know, but I would like to stay home. I like alcohol. Those things seem pretty appealing, and I don't have the money to do it, so. But I don't know, you'd lose, what if you lose someone's money, that too. It just, yeah. It'd be cool. I know how to have I have some good ideas for a good bar. I've been to a few. We'll see. You convinced me, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I have no clue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Family, just hanging out.
Yeah, the only thing I want to make money for is to do my own little animal rescue thing. Otherwise, this is pretty much all I want to do. I like traveling. I like meeting new people. I miss being home. I like to kind of mix when I'm home. I miss the road, and so if you just do both. Good.
Yeah, I'd like to continue doing what I'm doing and evolving and changing as an artist and just as a person. We're seeing, I guess, where it gets me. I guess that any level of success, either it'll come or not come. For as far as I'm concerned, it's like just another bonus to what you're doing. Because as far as I'm concerned, as a person, I succeeded because I'm just happy doing this, and I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy doing tours with Joey. I'm happy sleeping in the car and playing in front of 5 people. I'm happy playing. You know, you reach that point, I think, and after a while, you're just like, just happy waking up and doing this. So whatever comes my way, bring it on.
We're a pretty happy touring group right now. You should catch us after like a really bad show and we'll give you better answers. We're all getting along really well, like we're all looking out for each other, like we're very optimistic right now.
I have one more question, Joey. It is said you somehow have a connection with Josh Brolin and Diane Lane. Were you also an actor at one point in your life?
Goonies?
I'm acting now.
Goonies.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I grew up with him when we were kids. When I was a child, we used to hang out. He was one of my better friends. Yeah.
Oh, that's a story.
I don't really, I think I just was really drunk, and I feel like I've said something in an interview that I shouldn't have said. Oh, fuck, I don't remember which one now. It's Walt Hamburger's fault, he was there.
The Mardon one, that was Hazel.
No, it wasn't that one. That one, like, it was different. It was what's that guy's name? Damien from Fucked Up has a podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we just got along so well. Like, I just feel like that guy could be my best friend. I think we spoke for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And he was like, at the end of it, he was like, we got to do another part. And I was like, I agree, because it was just all we talked about. We just shared a lot of passions, you know, things like that we collect and all these things, and I didn't know him, you know. But at some point, Josh Brolin, in an interview, said that he was a founding member of a band called RKL, which I was a founding member of. Everyone in my band was an RKL. Everyone. And the only original member of RKL that's still alive, really, I mean, if you count me, but I was in the band for like 2 weeks, so I don't even count me, is Chris Rest, who's one of our guitar players. Anyway, he was in an interview doing a junket thing, you know, for a movie, and he was in an interview with Benicio del Toro or something, and I don't know what this film is that they had coming out, but they were talking about it, and they asked him about punk rock, and he said, well, I used to have a mohawk, and I was into punk. I started this band called RKL. And, you know, I think what he didn't realize is that people fact check things. So you gotta be careful if you're gonna lie to millions of people. And someone did, and it wasn't anybody from our community, because we have no connection to that community, you know? So I spoke a little bit about that in the interview, and it isn't true. I think he reneged and came back and said something like to the effect that he was in the band for a little while or something, and that's what he meant. And then they figured it out that that was also not true. And then I think he came back and said, well, I just hung out with the guys, which is true. But, you know, I think he's got it going pretty good. I guess I don't fully understand why someone would make something like that up when they're as successful as him in the medium that they work at. Just odd. I haven't seen him in like 25 years, 30 years. It's been a long time. I mean, he made Goonies and it was like, Josh, where'd you go? It really was like that. I mean, I think he just kind of got all consumed by acting and he kind of left our little town, you know. And it wasn't sad. I didn't like him.
I'm so glad I'm in this interview, just sitting here.
Yeah, here I go again, saying too much. But I'll never see him again, so I don't care. Yeah.
Is there anything else you...
Oh,
That's it?
Sorry. Yeah,
that's a perfect way to end it.
I'm just waiting for you to say, well,
Was there
we did that,
anything
but
else?
Josh Brolin's behind that door. Come on in, Jerry.
Well, if I ever do see him and I keep talking like this, he'd probably annihilate me.
Yeah, so this was a fun interview. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, positive notes here. We gotta end on one.
Go get Laura's record. really good.
Yeah, Walt's record is really good.
The Yotam's.
I think you should get my record.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. I'd say it's exciting that we're in Belgium today.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, this gig's gonna be a trip. These theater ones make me nervous.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful and it sounds so good in there, like too good. You know what I mean?
Too good for us.
You can hear like every little thing, like a little imperfection. You just go, oh, ah.
It's like a sold out show and it's a big theater. And,
We should get drunk.
I mean, we're definitely going to practice. We'll practice.
Should we practice?
Yeah.
Yeah, you already
Okay.
are. That's all we got. I don't know.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tree.
Thank you for
Thanks.
this lovely chat.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Ian. Nice questions, buddy.